everyone. I'm Fred Hickman.
And I'm Morocco Moon.
And we're the hosts of the Cartoon Network
Dog Boom.
You know, at the end of our last hour, you voted between two tough competitors for the title of Top Dog. And now it's time to announce our winner, Morocco.
Thanks, Fred. The voting was close, but this year's Cartoon Network Dog Bowl champion is Scooby-Doo.
Tom swinging the hatchet.
Yeah, look, this is just some big league hitting. Boom, and again, boom, boom! He's thinking I've been hit by pit bulls, by black labs, by big old Great Danes pulling, but I've never been hit like that. That is a St. Bernard hit.
Sylvester versus Tweety. Join Len Dawson, Nick Bonacotti, and Jerry Glanville for a 3-hour pregame show with game film, analysis, and in-depth player profiles. And then the big game with play-by-play by John Madden and Pat Summerall.
Yeah, look, this is just some big league hitting.
And he stopped dead in his tracks.
Make no mistake about this matchup. Fur will fly and feathers will be rumbled. It's Sylvester versus Tweety.
Everybody knows when it comes to true sports fans, there is no such thing as subtlety. Right now, Fred Khalil is somewhere in the middle of a few of those fans who seem to be fairly animated themselves. Fred?
Well, Len, they told me this was supposed to be neutral territory for Tweety and Sylvester. But I got to tell you, it is more like a war zone here today. These fans are excited, and why not? They have waited a long time to get to this point, and they are ready to see some fur, feathers, whichever the case may be, fly here today.
The 1999 season has passed, and two competitors remain to battle for the title of champion. A decision that can only be made in the Big Game 28, the Roadrunner versus Coyote. Join us for a marathon of past season Roadrunner and Coyote game films. Followed by Len Dawson, Chris Collinsworth, Nick Bonacotti, and Jerry Glanville, live in the studio for the Slate Rock and Corey pregame show, with expert commentary, analysis, and no-holds-barred investigative reports from people who know all sorts of things and talk about them. Then it's off to Chuck Jones Stadium for the Big Game 28 with John Madden and Pat Summerall calling the action, along with the Spacely Sprockets halftime show spectacular, choreographed by international superstar Helmut Spassmacher. The Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, who will claim victory?
Here it is, just about time to get things going, and it looks like they're readying the field for competition. Can you believe this?
Will you look at that?
Gorgeous, isn't it?
You know, I'm getting a little choked up. That is beautiful. You know, Pat, I've said this before. The Chuck Jones Stadium is the best facility to play in for a competition like this. Man, this is really going to be fun.
And how it is.
Welcome to Big Game 29, Bugs versus Daffy.
Here now for our little roundtable discussion of the Elmer Factor, our own Chris Collinsworth, Nick Bonacotti, Jerry Glanville, and Dan Marino. Gentlemen?
I, for one, think the Elmer Factor is huge.
Oh, give me a break, will you? There is no Elmer Factor. Here's a player who's 0-30 this season, and he keeps staying very, very quiet. I'm hunting Wabbit. Well, I got news for you, Elmer. When you're in the stadium with 60,000 screaming fans, you're not going to get them to be very, very quiet.
I think you both are missing the larger point. I, for one, am disgusted by the fact that there's an Elmer Factor at all. It's Bugs and Daffy that made it to the top. And it's a match between Bugs and Daffy that the good people paid to see. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Could be wrong. Trust me, Chris, you are wrong. The big game rules the roost of sports for one reason. There are no rules. I'm sure players wish there were regulations when they get hit with an anvil. It's exactly that anything can happen quality that makes the big game what it is.
Ah, you're crazy.